Do you like Duolingo? Yes? Oh, you mean no? No. That's crazy. But me too. Duolingo didn't help me learn Japanese. Instead, it made me chase dopamine and start hating learning. Before I could read hiragana or katakana, I could say, ano hito wa ookii desu, which, now that I think about it, is actually a useful sentence. Or the classic, mizu to ocha kudasai. I spent 200 days chasing a Duolingo streak. That is roughly around 124 hours of my life basically gone. I started in 2020, and for around like 30 minutes every day, I would just, hack away at Duolingo. I was very passionate and like very optimistic. And honestly, looking back, I don't remember much of anything that I learned. The drills were repetitive. The league system felt unnecessary pressure. Not to brag, but I did climb all the way up to Diamond, and I thought I was so good because, I'm ranked higher than a lot of people. That directly translates to my fluency, right? Of course not. After 250 days, I lost it. And weirdly, I didn't just lose the streak, I lost the motivation with it. Looking back, if I had spent that time differently, I could have made way more progress and probably enjoyed it too. So last year in May, I tried again, but this time I did something different. In just 2 months of casual input and flashcards, I was already miles ahead of where I was with Duolingo. Now, I know I'm listing negatives, but Duolingo isn't all bad. It has solid beginner features, writing practice, and hiragana and katakana recognition. That part is genuinely helpful, but in my opinion, it falls short for long-term learning. Everyone is different. A lot of people do like Duolingo, and if it works for you, amazing, keep going. But personally, for me, it felt more like repetitive and just more about the streak. After quitting Duolingo, I didn't think about languages for years until I saw a video about learning Japanese through immersion, which is basically a natural way to learn a language. And it sounded way more fun. The idea is simple. Consume content in Japanese and eventually you'll understand it, Obviously, you have to study vocabulary too, like flashcards, which I consistently did until I also got burnt out, but that's another issue. That's just me. I'm slowly rebuilding that habit. Anyway, the core idea of immersion is study a few words every day, then reinforce them long-term through context. But the input you're using for the context has to be comprehensible. Like a video of someone talking about cooking and they're saying maybe grab the chicken and they're holding chicken so you can kind of put two and two together, What you don't want is random podcasts like I did. I used to listen to programming podcasts while walking because I was like, I'm walking anyway, I'm not gonna watch a video, so I might as well put a podcast on. And I think if I waited a few more months before doing that, I think it would have been a lot better. But I was literally maybe a week in.
みぞさんも分かるわけないじゃん。なんで前提なんだよ。API。API 分かんないんですよ。なんかね、アプリケーションなんたらインターフェースだったのは覚えてるんですよね。プログラミングですね。アプリケーションプログラミング。
And I wasn't really understanding anything. They were funny. They seemed to be having fun. Whatever they're talking about sounded funny. And it was putting a smile on my face, but I was kind of listening literally only for the vibes. But eventually it got better though. I started actually hearing words I recognized.
ちょっとだけ晴れています。まあまあいい天気です。あんまり暑くないです。今日は寒くないです。
Sometimes some sentences had two words that I knew, and that was crazy to me. I was like, oh wait, I know what they're talking about. I went from understanding nothing to at least recognizing what the topic was. That shift felt huge. This new breakthrough made me want to continue learning, and I finally was having fun again. For the first maybe month of Anki, I would just normally go through the flashcards, and then I realized I was having one issue. I couldn't tell apart similar kanji just by looking at them. I would try and remember the details, but if there was two kanji where the first radical was similar to another one but they ended with the wrong one, I would have trouble remembering or reading. Atachi, Takachi, Tegachi, Tagami, Kakashi. I know this. So I'm just gonna katachi. There we go. Oh my god. What I started doing to fix this problem was I started writing out the kanji itself. Anki has a great add-on for this. So while you're in the app, you can just hover over the word and the stroke order shows up. And I would write out the words, and I realized this was so much better because since I had to physically write out the words, it made it basically like, it's like a cheat code. It makes it very easy to remember kanji because you have to write it out, remember the stroke order. But there's also a downside to this. Going through your flashcards takes so much longer because per day I would only write out the words the first time they showed up. The second time they show up, I wouldn't write them. But that would still mean like maybe 20 words. Basically, it's a really good tactic, but it also makes it so much longer. And I got burnt out from this. But I still recommend it. Maybe limit it to like 10 words that you write out max. Or what I'm doing currently is I only write out. I do my Anki normally, and then I write out kanji that I'm having problems with, and that makes it less daunting. Now for the input part. I tried watching YouTube videos of comprehensible inputs, but I realized quickly that wasn't for me. It was either boring, I couldn't stick with it, or I just didn't like the video. It wasn't something I was interested in. I tried watching anime like this, where I would pause and like, use it as study material, but I couldn't stick with this either. I needed something else. So I was like, I have an idea. Games, I already play games. So instead of adding something new to my routine, I could just change the language of something I already do. Quoting Atomic Habits, the easiest way to build a habit is attaching it to something you already do. And games made perfect sense. Before I got into inputs using games, I found this pop-up dictionary that you can use for basically anything, whether it's YouTube, anime, in-game, literally anything. All the tools that I listed, I'm gonna leave them down in the description. My first test was Valorant. I changed the HUD and like audio to Japanese, and as you would expect, it mostly did nothing. I mean, I learned words for like victory, enemy, that kind of stuff, and I guess that's kind of helpful. I don't know. But it wasn't really that good. Plus, when someone ulted, I'd panic and just ask my friend, who's ulting? I don't know, I don't understand it. Also, after playing the game for so many years, I didn't realize until recently that when someone ults, their icon turns green. So I could have just looked. But in terms of learning, it wasn't really that good. Finding the right game took months. And I mean like 5 months. Every time something felt inconvenient or even slightly hard, I switched. I used recommendations from Game Gengo's tier list video, which I highly recommend, by the way. The first game I tried was Animal Crossing, but I had a few issues. The tutorial felt confusing, the controls were weird, plus I didn't really enjoy the game, so I moved on. Then I tried Ni no Kuni, which is a cute game, but it locked the cursor and didn't allow pausing in cutscenes. Plus my OCR dictionary couldn't work properly since the cursor was locked, so I couldn't even hover over words to like read them without tabbing out and like manually searching up the word, which I didn't want to do. Wait, my S key doesn't work. Am I not allowed to walk backwards? I can walk left and right, up, but I can't go down. It's fine, I'll get there. Also, the worst part is you can't save the game yet. Wait, no, I lied, it's not all good. Uh-oh. Unless I'm missing something. I need to go... Look! Why? Wait, why? Do you see that? Why is it on mouse click? What the fuck? I did not do that. Oh my god, it's on a mouse click for some reason. Who did that? So, back to the drawing board. And then I went and I tried Yakuza 0. This game is amazing, by the way, just as like a game itself. I enjoyed it so much, I kind of forgot about the language learning. Even though the game was in Japanese, most of it was missions and fights. And the only downside was how hard it was to avoid random street fights. That was my issue. My issue wasn't even anything to do with language learning. I'll finish it someday, but for now, it wasn't ideal as input. Then I went back to the tier list video, and the first game you rated S tier was Dynasty Warriors, and it looked good. It had voice acting, replayable log, it checked a lot of boxes. So, of course, I bought it. I played a few minutes, and then I realized the language feels very ancient, which I know I should know already, but I didn't really think about that. So I go back to the video again, and of course I didn't fully listen to it properly.
So the language is going to be tricky. It is definitely going to be the trickiest language, perhaps even in this entire video.
Bruh, refunded. This felt like buying something and then watching a review where the guy's like, don't buy this. This headphone gave me migraines and caused irreversible damage. I now have a permanent headband and that caused my wife to leave me and she also took the kids. But anyway, it's fine. I refunded it. But finally, after months of switching games and making almost no progress, I found one that was easy to play. Not a visual novel because I hate those. It was also conversational and also the cursor isn't locked. And most importantly, it has romanceable characters, which was my favorite part of Stardew Valley. And this game is like kind of similar. And that changed everything. Now I don't have to tab out for every word. I focus on keywords and just play the game as normal. There's a dialogue log. Bruh, that's such a weird word. Dialogue log. Anyway, but yeah. There's a dialogue log so I can review scenes. And in the inventory, you can hover over items and like learn everyday vocabulary naturally. Even the settings and instructions aren't overwhelming. It feels, you know, manageable. Okay, also, pause. This is starting to sound like an ad. I promise, wallahi, it's not. I just like the game and it kind of genuinely fits like my learning style and it's a pretty chill game, you know? It took time, but I think, you know, I finally found something like I can actually completely finish and enjoy. I'll post progress on it soon and I hope my opinion doesn't change.